So the Hodag Country Ramble was 2 nights of camping, bike rides, food, beer, campfires near Rhinelander, Wisconsin. It was on Jeff Frane's family property. Jeff is the founder of All City, and then he also now runs Wilde Bikes, which makes custom U.S. bicycles and then also some production bicycles as well. Really cool brand. Anyways, we got there fairly early in the afternoon on Friday, set up our campsite and all that, and then decided to ride out and get some dinner. Jeff had made a list of things to do in places nearby, and there was a spot that was supposed to have good food and a bar on the water about 6 miles away. So we rode out there, me, Ben, and Aaron. We met up with 3 of our other Akron friends and had some dinner, had a drink, but we had it timed so we could be back for the riders meeting at 6 o'clock. So Jeff kind of laid out what was going to happen with the ride the next day and all this, which is pretty interesting. So a lot of it was going to be on logging roads. And so the logging companies, I guess, own this land, but they get a tax credit to let the public use it. So, he let us know, yield if there are any trucks or anything like that out there, but we have every right to be out there. So the ride was going to be a mix of gravel roads, this double track, a couple fairly gnarly sections, but shorter, and then just some short road miles overall. So right after the riding meeting, there was a bandit cross race. This property had all kinds of trails cut into it. So I went and did the parade lap. I initially wasn't even going to do that. I'm like, I'll just take some pictures. Then everyone's like, well, it's a parade lap. So did that. And so have some footage of the parade lap. And then as it came back around at the beginning, everyone just started, racing. It wasn't a serious race, but some people were going hard. And then I just jumped in and kept going. So I did my 5 or whatever laps and rode at a pretty decent pace. It was kind of like one of those why not burn off some dinner, and it was a lot of fun anyways. After that, it was basically then just hanging out. So hung out with the Joy Machine guys from Cleveland, met new people. Every person who had a camera with them, we kind of nerded out, so just had a lot of fun. It was kind of one central campfire that we were all hanging around and chatting. Yeah, met a lot of people from Minneapolis, stuff like that. Just really fun night. Didn't stay up super late because the ride was in the morning. The rollout time was 9 o'clock. So, yeah, 9 we hit the road. And again, it was just a awesome route. Just so pretty. Up there this far, we went up through the Upper Peninsula. So this is, over Lake Michigan, between Michigan and Superior and Wisconsin. And just, it feels different. The woods feel different, it's a different vibe. It was just really cool. I was thinking to myself too, I don't hike as much anymore. So a lot of the double track was really cool because it's kind of like that, being in the woods feeling more than I generally get anymore. I mean, we do, ride the bike paths and stuff around here, but with these trails being more curvy and I don't know, up and down and double track, it was a totally different thing. I really enjoyed it. And this ride was not a race per se. I mean, obviously you could ride anything however you want, but it was a group ride, and these are becoming more of my favorite kind of events. I know I have a lot of friends on the channel now that I've met at Nutmeg out in Connecticut, and then also Higher Ground in Pennsylvania, both of which are rides that are coming up that I intend to do. But I really like this idea of just like getting out there and riding with people. It's not like no drop or completely organized the way the groups stay together, but you do kind of ride in different groups and kind of work your way through different groups or fall back into groups and meet people while you're out there. Again, having my camera on the back, nerded out with some people about cameras and stuff like that, GoPros, and just in general, you're riding bikes with a lot of people who are there to do the exact same thing as you. And I'm just really starting to enjoy these kind of events even more so than the races. I mean, there's, like I've said, a couple races I do every year. I'm not serious about racing. I'm not trying to ever beat anyone. So that's kind of why I think I even enjoy this more. So even in this video, when you see everyone kind of stopping and taking a break and standing there and chatting with each other, none of this is planned. It's just kind of people doing that. It just, when we'd hit like a section, maybe that was a little tougher and people would just kind of wait up and chat and, maybe they're waiting for their friends and then other conversations develop. So just that really cool vibe. There was also a bar that was mentioned as a possible stop, and I think a big chunk of the ride stopped there. I don't know, percentage wise, but a lot of people stayed there and hung out for a while. We kind of just lined up and everyone was pretty much grabbing cheap beers and then walking out back where there was also a lake, and it was really pretty. I got to meet Sam there, who I've chatted with on the channel forever. While I was out riding, I met Zach, so got to meet a couple internet friends, which was really cool. Like I said, I was already hanging out with my Akron friends and a lot of the people I do know from Cleveland, but it's awesome when you get to put a face to the people that you've chatted with either on Instagram or YouTube or wherever it may be online as well. There were 3 options for the routes. There was a 20-mile, like more chill one, I think. And then we did the middle one. I think it was 52 miles. As always, the Strava for this ride will be linked below if you want to dive in and see what it looked like. There was a longer one. It seemed like that would kind of be pushing it, especially because Jeff really stressed he was hoping everyone would be back by 6:30 for the family dinner that they had planned. So we were like, and that was the other thing too, like when I'm talking about everyone stopping, going to the bar and all that, like we wanted to make a day out of a fun ride and not be pushing it. Not that there's anything wrong with doing the long ride, and maybe if I had turned up alone or something like that, I would have went for it. But yeah, it was more there to hang out and have a good time. Doesn't mean there weren't parts where they were fun to kind of hit or climb kind of fast. There was one really flowy section of double track that went on for a while where I kind of did go off on my own and just kind of rode it, to have some fun and get going. But then still, once we came to the next intersection, stopped and waited up for my crew and other people as well. That was a really cool thing about the ride too. As you can see, there are some road miles, but it was kind of we were talking, me and Ryan Hugh from Akron as well. It's kind of the reverse of our rides around here where we ride a lot of road to hit all these little cuts we want to hit. This was hitting all these long, awesome cuts with just a little bit of road to connect them together. So yeah, almost the reverse of a typical ride for me and my friends here in Akron. And it was really cool. You would, I had the GPX file on my Wahoo computer. So you would turn onto a section of double track and then it would be like next queue 8 miles. So in your mind, you're like, oh, awesome. I'm about to hit 8 miles of double track. And that didn't mean it was going to be some straight, flat 8 miles of double track. It's just, this is where that road went. So it'd be curvy and up and down like you could see in the video. So really, really neat. Just awesome stuff. Just, like I said, a day riding in the woods and, mostly gravel and double track with a little bit of road mixed in. The ride ended by, I was trying to figure out, like, with where we were going, like, how are we going to get back to the property? Because I thought it only sat on this one road, and then we cut down this little trail, and then it was up over these abandoned train tracks. So if you are a regular follower of my channel, you have to know that we're like, oh, what a perfect ending, then hitting some railroad ballast and a railroad bridge that you have to walk over. There was also a couple lakes right there. A number of people went swimming. I thought we probably would too, but we went and finished the ride, and when I sat down, I never felt like working my way back to the lake. If I would have just stopped and went in right then, I guess it probably would have done it, but didn't end up doing it. But yeah, swimming was also an option, which was great. Don't know how cold the water was because it felt like the season was a good month ahead up that far north. Like, as you notice all the color in the trees and everything like that, the maples especially, like it's not like that around here yet. So yeah, so definitely different. Felt like a different season, or just more advanced into the seasons than it was here. So when we finished the ride and we were sitting down, we just kind of hung out for a while and we're just relaxing until it was time for family dinner. Everyone was supposed to bring their own plate. I was trying to make it, not a bunch of trash and that kind of stuff. So be a little bit sustainable with the event. So we went down to the big tent they had set up, picked a table, and so did everyone else, and waited until the food was served. Jeff's friend, who's a chef, and I can't remember his name, unfortunately, made a bunch of stuff for tacos, which he was saying is a great way to do it because it's easy to deal with people's different dietary restrictions when you do tacos. And they were awesome. And there was tons of food. You were able to go back for seconds if you wanted to and everything like that. They also had free beer. They had a canoe full of ice with beer in it. So that was also an awesome thing. And then as the night went on, the fire got going. And again, we were just hanging out, chatting with everybody and just having a good time, talking to, like I said, new friends, old friends, and all that kind of stuff. I hung out pretty late that night, but there was also a pizza delivery later that they had planned too. And that, after having a few beers into the evening, was pretty great. So yeah, had a few beers, hung out. And then it actually started to rain. It was pretty late, and I think most people had already winded down, so it wasn't a big deal. But it did rain all night. It was never it didn't seem to me, I slept pretty well, like it was ever like crazy, because our tent stayed reasonably dry. I had just brought my old car camping tent that I've had for like 20 years or whatever. When I do an event like this and I'm not bike packing, I don't want to bring the bike packing tent. There's no reason to be squeezed in there like sardines when I could just bring the old cheap tent that has more room. The nights were a little chilly, and when I say chilly, just for this time of year and like where I'm from here in Ohio, just being, we just came off some 90-degree weather, so I'm just not acclimated to it yet. But I actually slept fine. I just brought my down quilt and a sleeping bag and my air mattress, and I pretty much slept on top of the sleeping bag with the quilt most of the night, and then got in the sleeping bag, I think, real early in the morning. Me, Aaron, and Ben had planned on doing a ride in the morning because we had driven all the way up there, and Jeff had in the email, like I said, listed a number of restaurants and sites to see, but then he also put some like bonus routes in there that people could have done on Friday or on Sunday. With the way it was raining, it seemed like by the time we even got up and moving, everybody was gone, but it had slowed to barely a drizzle. So we packed everything up, moved the car, and decided to do just a 12-mile route while we were there. We were moving on to a different place later, so we didn't want to do something too long because we did have a little bit of driving to do. But we went out and did another beautiful ride, and the grass and stuff got our feet wet, but it wasn't really bad at all, and it was really, really pretty. Again, just another great day out on the bikes, and really made it worthwhile. And when we got back, Jeff and Chelsea had actually got a fire going in the cabin, so we went in there and we had some leftover tacos, so it was just really great. This event all around was awesome for them to open up their family property to people like this, and then also for everyone there to respect it so much. It looked like there was no trace left behind and all that kind of thing. So I know Jeff's family helped out, his parents did, and his sister, and it was just cool. I'm someone who the idea of organizing something stresses me out. I've even, done a couple rides, and I'm always so worried about everybody. And I've had people on the live streams that do this kind of planning, and I'm so thankful for the people who go through the effort to make this happen, because I know how stressful it is for me. Yeah. So when people go and open up something like this and show this immense hospitality, it's just amazing. And then when people return the favor by being good guests, it's even better when you leave a place and you feel good about everybody you're around. So absolutely loved the weekend. It's quite a hike for us to get up there, I think 12 hours overall, but it was totally worth it. And obviously, as I said, we were somewhere before. I already made a video about that. And then I'll have a video coming out about what we did after this, which was pretty amazing as well. This part of the country is awesome. I'm starting to question why we spent our childhood driving all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean when we could have been going over to Michigan or Superior, which are stunningly beautiful. I did want to bring up that when we were at the bar, one of our new friends that we were standing next to had the line of the day, which was, "I'm a hoe bag for Hodag." So I think that partially summed up a lot of the feelings as well. So anyways, I'm doing this voiceover without watching the video, so I don't know where we're at, so I'll probably pop on some music so you could just watch more of the footage and see how pretty it is up here. And then in a few days, I'll have the latest adventure popped up on here too. So I appreciate it. A few people have been reaching out lately saying that this channel has motivated them to jump on their bike on a day where maybe they wouldn't, or do some different things, or just be a little more chill in the kind of riding they're doing. I truly appreciate that. I make these videos because I think they're fun, but then when someone tells me like that, something like that is totally worth it. If you do want to support the channel some more, I do have a little store with some fun stuff in it, that link down below, and we do have channel memberships, which just helps out, buy GoPros, audio equipment, all that junk. So I appreciate everything, and I will see you in the next one.